Welcome back, everyone. Episode 63, Second Look Sports Show. Pretty important information here, fellas. It looks like we have a new member, but if you've been a Second Look show sports advocate for the beginning, you would know who this lad to my bottom, but wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, he is on the screen. First and foremost, Alex Mandarino. We got Brandon Brown, Justin Arenburg as per usual. And our boy David Leo is filling in, stepping back in the spotlight. It's been a busy time for him. So no Christian today, but we sub. So it's basically like World Cup talk. We had Christian come in and David in the second half. Maybe a Kyle Laren-esque addition for today.
Little super sub, eh?
Little super sub. I deserve to be here type action there, which we love to hear. So exciting stuff today. We have a lot to talk about. But Dave, welcome back. Anything you want to share with the folks, what's been going on with you, or happy to be back? We're happy to have you.
Yeah, if you guys have been viewers of this channel, you'll recognize me from the Second Look Hockey podcast. And hey, surprise, guys. I know I can talk more than just hockey. I'm pretty excited because of the start of the World Cup, which I believe is going to be our first topic heading in. But I'll just thank you guys for having me on. I was able to clear time out today to be a part of it. I really wanted to make a point, especially now for the World Cup starting. I would say like soccer is one of my passions along with hockey. So I really wanted to make a point to come back on, show my face again, give some thoughts. And man, I love international soccer tournaments and stuff like that, like the Euros, Copa America, especially the World Cup. I am so jacked up for this tournament right now. And the other thing I wanted to mention, you guys took out one Italian guy. I know, Amanda, you're an Italian guy himself. You guys replaced him with another Italian in here. Unfortunately, I can't talk about that national team, but I'm so
Yeah, you
hyped
should talk
up.
about it. You should talk about it.
Which one? The Italian national team?
Yeah, you should talk
No,
about that.
they deserve no sympathy, no time on air to talk about them, because that's the amount of suffering that they put us through over the last few World Cup qualifying tournaments. So, but I am so hyped up to talk about our home team. Like, I know a lot of Italian Canadians, we get the rep of only cheering for Italy when it comes for international tournaments, but now we've got our Canadian guys, like, front and center, hosting this tournament at BMO or at the Toronto Stadium downtown. Like, I don't know if you guys just want to hop in here. Like, I have never been more proud to be Canadian, honestly, in my life. Seeing the videos come in yesterday from the pre-march towards the stadium between both the Canadians and the Bosnian fans. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see those videos. It brought back memories of like when I was 10 years old, even to an extent when I was 6 years old. But I remember when I was 10 years old watching the World Cup in South Africa and thinking like, that really gave me hope at some point in my life that maybe a World Cup would come close to home, and hope. I also thought the Italians would be there as well, but I never thought the Canadian national team, especially at that time, would also be a spotlight staple in the tournament as well. So it's been everything that I dreamt of it being, and more so far. I don't know what you guys thought about what yesterday's pre-activities, at least before the game.
I was shocked. I was shocked to see how many people were downtown. I was not expecting that. You don't really know in this. I expected like the World Cup to take over the city, in the sense of like it would be the most popular thing as sporting event in the city, obviously. But in terms of the level of excitement from just Canadian fans, I was not expecting that yesterday. So that was so cool to see. Canadians really showed out. Like, it was like, what, 4 hours before game time, and the streets are filled. They're doing a march to Toronto Stadium. They're at the gates 3 hours or 3.5 hours before kickoff. It is just an absolute buzz downtown. Like, I'm sure, Alex, you can talk to this better because you're literally right in the heart of it in Liberty Village. But like, it looks insane. It just looks crazy. But like at the same time, crazy in the sense that you want to be there. Like that kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, I will say, and then Brandon, I'm curious to get your thoughts too, but it was like, I will say, I was there in the morning. So they closed a lot of the streets around Liberty Village, understandably, to kind of like allow the fans to walk around and deter traffic from kind of causing an issue. And I was working in Scarborough. So my girlfriend was sending me videos of how it was, and it was packed. Like there's people everywhere. But they did a pretty good job of making sure that everyone could enjoy it and it wasn't too rowdy. Once the game started, I feel like people kind of found either they were at the stadium or they were in bars. You could see all around the city, people were either at like the watch party at Fort York or they were just everywhere. It definitely felt like a
Mhm.
great buzz. And Canada, for the most part, gave everybody a reason to cheer at least a couple times. But even the pregame ceremonies, like seeing Will Arnett
Oh
fire the
yeah.
people up, that was perfect. He's a perfect advocate for it. It
Hey,
was very cool to see a lot of people at Harborfront. Yeah, go ahead.
they actually did it right too.
What do you
Um,
mean?
they did it right in the sense that, hey, kickoff's supposed to be at 3 o'clock. They actually kicked off at 3 o'clock. They got the
Yeah.
pregame ceremonies done before 3 o'clock, which is what you're supposed to do.
I liked it.
Hey,
Yeah,
NHL,
Yeah,
Come
well,
take
on.
some notes, buddy.
NHL, take notes, buddy. Take
yeah,
notes. Eight
crazy.
o'clock puck drop for an 8:25 actual start. Come on. Take the notes
Justin, I
at the
I'm so glad you brought that up, man.
like
That is one of the points I think of this tournament, and it's not just Toronto that did it as well, but it was
oh yeah,
in
no,
Mexico
it's a whole
City
other thing. It's a
and last night. I don't know if you saw in LA as well. Like they had a whole huge pregame ceremony going on, and they started right at 9 p.m.
Yeah,
Eastern, and I'm so happy for that because if there's one thing that I think international that soccer in general knows how to do, uh, and I'm a watcher of like the Prem and Champions League, is when they tell you what time the game is starting on, you better be in your seat for that time because the match
exactly.
is beginning at that time. And
Exactly.
I
yeah,
yeah.
hate that the NHL doesn't do that.
No, they're
Well,
like,
that's
let's
yeah.
get you into your seats by 7 o'clock so then you can watch the pregame ceremony for
mhm,
25 minutes. Like it's like if people want to watch the pregame ceremony, do it from 6:30 to 7. Even
yeah,
for
Mhm.
TV, if you want to have a pregame show, do it for an hour beforehand. Don't do
mhm.
it for 15 minutes after the start of the game. Like I don't know, it's annoying. It's the most pet peeve thing that like drives me insane about the NHL is yeah, just lie to your folks. Like literally someone asked me the other night, they're like what what time does the game start tonight? I'm like, well, like they were like, what time? Because I was gonna watch it with someone. What time should I be there? And I'm like, well, you can come for 8 o'clock, but the game's realistically not gonna start till 8:30, so you don't
Mhm.
have to come until 8:30 because they're just not gonna start or they're not gonna drop the puck until then. And they go, what do you mean they're not gonna drop the puck until then? I'm like, well, like this is how it goes in the NHL. I don't know how to explain it, but like every other sport can hit the start time on the exact minute. Baseball, you look at it, they tell you exactly what time they're going to start. NFL, if they go past a minute past their start time, there is something dramatically wrong. FIFA, like every single sport except and the NBA, every single sport except the NHL knows how to actually start on the start time. It is ridiculous. Anyway, that's my pet peeve of the day. That's my little rant for Saturday morning.
No, I mean, it's definitely refreshing to hear or to see that a league can actually, like, withhold their own start times, and it gives you a, like, kind of a clean feel with the game. Like, I feel like the
Yeah,
Canada for example, the Canada game yesterday, 3 p.m. Eastern, you pretty
Yeah,
much know around 5 p.m. Eastern, like, you're done. Like, there's no threat of a slow, whistle or a longer game because of stoppages or anything like that. It's like, you're in and out. Now, people have been complaining a bit about these hydration breaks and how
yeah.
that's kind of elongated the game a little bit. You're seeing more advertisements on the broadcast. So I think that's changing maybe a little bit, and maybe eventually, maybe start times start to kind of get pushed back a little bit with
Yeah. I mean,
ads and
I
stuff, but I would agree, Justin, you're right. Like there's something about having a pregame show that leads right into a game that starts directly
yes.
on time. Like that's
Yes.
exactly the way it should be done. Um, and then just to follow up on your guys' point, like yeah, like the
Mhm.
connectedness around the city and not just the amount of people because I did expect like a ton of people all over the city to be excited and to eventually congregate downtown, but to see it all happen kind of, outside the city core and then watch it kind of come in all in one group was just amazing, I think. And then even from the Bosnian side, to see that many people,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
going
Mhm.
downtown from there, and then to see even the stadium, there was quite a few
Oh, yeah.
um, Bosnian fans, so it was great to see like that. It really did have like a traditional football feel to it, and I think that was the one thing that people didn't really know what it was going to feel like in Toronto, because it's not a traditional soccer market. So I think that was the one thing that kind of gave people a lot of hope for these games. And even going forward, a lot of people are like, well, this might be the only World Cup Canada gets to be a part of. And it's like, well, maybe not if they really show
Yeah.
that we have a passion for it and that if the
Oh, we're
team
getting
does well
better.
enough, like, yeah, like it's
Mhm.
one of those things that I think we just have to get more used to it. And then I think the country in general will start to really, connect itself towards it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and listen, like it was an interesting game all around too, an interesting match. I mean, I'm sure a lot of Canadians fans sort of wished it. I mean, it turned out okay, and if you haven't watched it, Canada did draw. It was a 1-1 draw at the end of it. It did feel like as the Canadians were playing and as the game was continuing, you kind of had a couple opportunities. Jonathan David had a really early opportunity to score. I think it was the first shot on target, and then it opened up from there. There wasn't a lot of tight, slow gameplay. It felt like it was pretty aggressive from the jump, which was really interesting, sort of what you expected. Lukic getting the goal for the Bosnians to put them up 1-0 in the 21st minute. And then Canada gets on the board in the 78th or 9th. I'm seeing two conflicting reports here, but basically
79.
it was a 9.
Mhm.
So Kyle Larin sneaks in a goal coming in. He came in a little bit
90
before that.
90 seconds beforehand, I think.
Yeah, it was just like, "I'm here, I'm ready to go." We had some interesting post-game comments as well, but, yeah, how did you guys feel like the game played out? Like, Dave, let's go to you first. How did you feel the Canadians played, and did you expect a different result, before heading into it?
So if you want me to be completely honest, I was fully expecting the 1-1. Or I was expecting a draw, and I had
Okay.
the 1-1 marked down. I figured that there was gonna be a goal, and Canada came out exactly how I thought. Canada, off the ball, their movements are awesome. They make runs in behind. They're able to get into good spaces around. Um, but for me, it's the lack of an attacking threat in the final third, especially on the wings. So I had
Yeah.
to say Tajon Buchanan and Liam Miller, the starting wingers, um, for the opening game. I think Tajon can be trusted more. He's delivered more on the bigger stage in bigger leagues in Europe. But unfortunately, I think Liam Miller is somebody who stuck out a bit like a sore thumb. He's able to get in behind, but creating a chance for his striker
Mhm.
in the box is just something that right now he's lacking. He was putting too many crosses high and out of the box, and some of them were going out for goal kicks. It wasn't a pretty sight from him. Even his cutbacks as well, which is something that he's very good at. He's able to keep close control and kind of play it low. He wasn't able to kind of figure that out. Bosnia is such a strong defensive team. Like their defensive shape is a lot stronger. I don't know if you guys noticed, but man, that back line was almost a full foot taller than some of those Canadian attackers. And
And
they
they're
use
Mhm.
that
thick.
to their advantage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why
so
Canada had 9 corners, I think, and, like, none of
mhm,
them looked effective, like, or high danger chances at
yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And on the opposite end, Justin, did you notice that every time Bosnia put in, how many corners did they have? Maybe four?
Yeah, they
Four.
had 3 or 4.
Four.
Okay. Every single set piece that Bosnia had, they looked threatening because they
Yeah,
were just so much larger than the Canadians. And
yeah.
the Canadians expected that. They knew that they were gonna get dominated physically. What I wanted to see more of was them exploiting that back line with a little bit more pace. And you mentioned Jonathan David. So I've seen a lot of people really down on Jonathan David. This is the men's national team's leading scorer.
Yeah.
And only Kyle Larin behind him, like by a couple of goals, like somebody that came off the bench for Jonathan David. So if the only way that Canada can advance, I think personally, is if their wingers are able to supply whoever it is at the top, whether that be Kyle Larin, whether that be Taniel O'Shea, who I think had a fine
Yeah.
game, but I
Good
Yeah.
game.
expect a
Yeah.
little bit more from him. Whether that be Promise David, Jonathan's brother, who I think came on and showed a bit of life. And I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you got to start Promise David over his brother. You got to start Taniel Oluwaseyi alone. I think the setup was right except for the support around them. I
Mhm.
think with a team now that they're going ahead and they're playing Qatar in the next game, who are a lot less defensively sound than Bosnia, and to an extent, they in recent friendlies they played teams like Uzbekistan, who are one of the stronger European defensive structures. They play very, very similar to the Bosnians, and I honestly I think they're a better defensive team than the Bosnians. And the Canadians weren't able to get anything going against them. So Canada in recent weeks, they lined up, or in recent matches leading up to
Mm-hmm.
the tournament, they lined up friendlies with teams that are much more defensively sound than them, and the results haven't been there so far. They didn't fare too well against those teams, but it was a good test for them to see where they're at offensively. So now against Qatar, I want to see that same fire that they brought to that first game in Toronto to
Yeah.
Vancouver and exploit a far weaker team. And unfortunately, to the Qataris, I think they are one of the weakest teams at this tournament. So for me, I'm looking for to that game for Canada getting their first ever World Cup win and
They
also
have to.
looking dominant against them as well.
Mhm.
They definitely have to. I mean, after or yesterday's game, I think the best word to describe Canada overall feel would be snake bitten. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people think they deserved to win yesterday, and I would agree with them. The chances were there, the possession, they controlled most of the possession, the high danger chances outside of corner kicks. I felt like Canada really controlled those as well. It was literally just finishing. Like
Mhm.
like you said, like the attacking front, like it's just poor striking by Jonathan David in the 17th minute with his left foot. Like that's not a great shot on goal, to be honest.
A-
Like
a-
it's
And
literally directly at the keeper.
that is, I'll be honest, atypical of Jonathan David. I've seen
Yeah.
that guy play in big matches in the Champions League, in Ligue 1, in and in Serie A, where on his left foot. He's not a two-footed player by any
Yeah.
means, but man, he gets a chance like that in the box. He is a fox in the box, as some would say. Like, man, if he gets a half chance in the box, he's typically burying those. So seeing him it looked like he kind of scuffed the shot a little bit. He didn't
Hmm.
get the shot off that he wanted. I could see where he wanted. He wanted placement into the corner, but
Yeah.
it kind of stayed too
Just-
central for him.
It
So
was a
to your
poor
point,
shot.
it
Like
was
just
it was a very poor outing from David, and he'll need to really take that into the next game for him.
for sure. And like honestly, like you look at the chances they had. I think it was both. Well, I know both were in the second half where there's chances where the Bosnian defenders are clearing it off the line, essentially saving 2 goals for their country. But outside of that, I still thought Canada, like you said, they made the more runs. They got in behind the Bosnian defenders more, so they just couldn't finish. And that's been the, I guess, or talk with this team about like the last like couple of years is like the lack of goal scoring ability. And it's not the fact that like I saw this recently, and I think it's a good explanation. Is like Canada has really good athletes, like they are really really athletic, but they aren't the best soccer players. Like we don't
Mhm.
have the top notch soccer players in the world yet. And you could see that on full display. Like they're really good. They can hold their own. They can keep up, but just the finishing ability, they don't really have it yet. And like it's gonna come. It felt like it was gonna come. If you're Canada, you feel really happy about the draw because that still leaves a chance to win the group, at least advance out of the group. And basically that secures a point. Like that was your first ever point at a World Cup. That is massive in and of itself. But just to get the draw and get to level terms, like that was huge because they could have very easily just lost that game and had 0 points and Bosnia had 3. That would be devastating. But to come out of it with a draw, you have to feel good. But I guess the overall word I would use is still snake bitten, just because of the chances that Canada created yesterday and just couldn't finish.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think for me, I have so many different like feelings, especially like going into the game. I think, Justin, to your point, I think everyone would have been without knowing, how the result played out. I think people would have been happy with a draw, but I think the way that the game played out, I think it kind of changed the way that I looked at it. I think for me, the way that they played was certainly encouraging. Like you said, Justin, like multiple opportunities could have had 3, 4 goals in that game and probably should have won. But I think to that point that makes to me the result a little bit disappointing in the fact that this was such a good opportunity for them to take control of a top 2 spot in the group. And I think this does leave a little bit of unfortunately a little bit of doubt that of what could happen. You could see Bosnia go out and maybe get a surprise result against Switzerland, and that would put a
Mhm.
lot of pressure on Canada to not only win their game against Qatar, but be very competitive against Switzerland as well. So I think it does leave, unfortunately, a little lack of a little taste in your mouth, like there was something that could have been done that unfortunately they didn't get done. But I think, like you said, there's still so much to look forward to going forward here um, that we should see. I think this Canada team get better as the tournament goes on. Um, and I understand that people are super excited for them to get their first point after what happened in 2022. And for me, that was kind of my same feeling. Like it's just a battle of emotions here, as you want the team to do as well as they can, but we have to understand that there's going to be steps to this as well. And I think the way that they've kind of come into this tournament without the momentum of 2022, um, to your point, Justin, just to get the point and to kind of get your feet in on the ground and kind of get going, I think is a really important thing. I think when Lukic scores that goal early yesterday, I think there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh my goodness, like this is how is this going to go?" And then you see into the second half, they're having trouble scoring. Eventually, do get that one, and I think that just puts so much relief through people to kind of get that first goal and just to kind of be a part of the tournament now. And I know even though it was pretty late, I really thought they had a chance to still take the win, and they almost did.
Mhm.
Like you said, there so many opportunities where they could have had
Yeah.
that second goal and really put the game away. And unfortunately, it just doesn't happen. But I think there's still a lot of optimism going forward, and I think that's the most important part is that this tournament be a competitive one for Canada, and that's kind of what we're looking at so far.
Since like 8 teams are coming out of third place teams are coming out and making the knockout stage, getting that 1 point is very crucial because we saw in the other 3 games that have been played so far, it's been a winner and a loser. So getting at least 1 point like if you finish in 3rd place, if you are Canada and you finish in 3rd place, getting that extra point that other teams that finish in their 3rd place in their group, that's huge because now you have a much better chance of finishing in that top 8 of the 3rd place teams.
Mhm.
If that's the way it finishes, if they don't finish top 2, they still have a wonderful chance now to advance into the knockout stage because of that point. So if they didn't get that point, that would be massive, and I think that would be disappointing, but because they got that point, I don't think it's a disappointing loss, or draw or result, I guess we can
Mhm.
say. Um, but I really think that, like you said, like you take what you got in that game and you go into the next game and you hopefully can dominate against Qatar because you need to show that performance, and I think that has to be the game that you show it in. I just
Definitely.
wanted to say, like, we got to give Kyle Larin his flowers, man. Like, first
The Brampton
World
man.
Cup goal on home soil, like, that is
Mhm.
history. That is
Yeah.
crazy. And to do it as a sub, to be disappointed not to start, but to use that energy and come in as a off the bench and channel it into, making an effort and being the reason Canada gets a point, like, that's massive. That's huge. Like, congratulations to Kyle Aaron. Like, just what a game. Like, just an immediate impact. Like, right? Like,
Mhm.
just you talk about needing a fresh start or fresh bounce off the bench. And he gave that immediately. I don't know what you guys thought about
Yeah.
his overall performance. Just the goal itself, like, it was amazing, I felt like.
I think in a way it's important that he almost was the one to score. I think he's chasing Atiba Hutchinson for like most caps by a Canadian. I think he's got like 94, 95 after yesterday's, and Atiba has 104, something like that. I don't know if my numbers match, but the point is he's been doing it for Canada for a while. So you need guys like him, Osorio, like the guys that have been around for a long time, kind of leading the charge. Eustachio is a great example of the leadership role. And I think those guys need to lead the charge in some capacity because it is a pretty young group. You have Kone who's 23. You have a couple of these guys who are like great players, but they're
Colin
they're sort of
was
fun.
so good, man. Like,
That's my
Just
guy.
yeah, he
Kone
was
is
I did see, so I guess we can talk about it for a quick second, but I did
Mhm.
see, like, discourse, like, some people loved his game yesterday, and some people thought he was bad yesterday. I was more on the good side. I thought he played phenomenal. Like, I thought he
Yeah.
controlled
Mhm.
the midfield, and I just think sky's the limit for this guy. He could be Canada's best player.
Yeah.
Like, I know
Yeah.
Alfonso Davies is there, but, like, in the next, like, 5 years, like, he could be the guy on Canada. I'm not kidding. Like, this
Yeah.
guy is insane.
For Canada's midfield, him and so Eustachio and Kone complement each other so
Mhm.
well. Eustachio is your prototypical workhorse midfielder. He is the box to box type of guy. He and you mentioned this before, Justin, and I love this point. Is Canada is so full of athletic footballers, and
Mhm.
you'll see this throughout the tournament. There's so many teams right now that are looking for guys that can just move. Like off the
Mhm.
ball, they're moving to create space for other people that are technically more gifted. And while I don't think Ismail Kone is not technically gifted, because I think he actually is more technically gifted than he's given credit for. But Steven Eustachio is that technical person to complement
Yeah.
Ismail Kone's high work rates. And I thought them in the midfield yesterday, they had it locked down. And I was
Mhm.
so happy to see that because I've been such a huge fan of Eustachio's game in Portugal and Ismail Kone's game in England and in Italy right now. He was playing for a team that that didn't finish too high in the table, but he started almost every game. He was playing 90 minutes consistently for them. So for him,
That's huge for
that
development,
was
right?
that was so big for him, and that now to show his talents in front of the world like he did yesterday. Yeah, no, I saw a bit of that discourse as well, Justin. I think some people are maybe just a little bit misguided as being as to what type of role they want Kone playing. I thought in the role that he played yesterday was awesome. Um,
Yeah,
there's still some room to improve for him as well. He's
for
still
sure,
not
for sure.
not an old player. Like he still has to work around a little bit. I think sometimes he gets a little bit hot tempered as well. I've seen it in the past. So we'll see how he grows into this tournament. I'm very excited to see how that midfield partnership links up going forward.
Yeah.
I think, like, do you guys want to have the conversation of Davies? Like, does Davies need to play next game? Like, or do you rest him? Do you just, like,
Well,
we feel confident in our lineup without him going against Qatar, and we're gonna give him an extra week off, to try and make sure he's 100% against our hardest match of the group stage in Switzerland. What do you
I
guys like? What do you guys think?
I don't even know if if they have a decision. Like, he might force himself onto the team. He might say, "I am playing."
Yeah, if you watched him yesterday, like
Yeah,
he looked like he was itching
yeah.
to get out on
I
that pitch.
I think somebody might have to restrain him from taking a starting spot, right? Um, now, with a player like him, he's so athletic, and his type of game where he's always looking to get forward, and he's also coming back as well. Again, like the athletic
Yeah.
ability on this team, right? But for him, because he's doing it at such a high speed, it really wears on his knees. um so I actually don't even know what to expect of Alphonso Davies should he come in and play against Qatar. Qatar isn't, like I mentioned before, not the strongest team defensively, so he'll be able to exploit them. But the one where I'm looking for Davies the most is that game against the Swiss, where they are definitely the best defensively structured team in this group. I'm looking to see if Davies can compete with some of the talents that they have on that field. So I think if I'm going to put a little prediction out here, I don't know if Davies starts against Qatar, but I feel like he does come on as a sub,
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe in the
that feels
second
about
half.
right.
And
That feels about right.
should that appearance go well for him, I'm penciling Alphonso Davies down as a starter against Switzerland. I believe it'd be like a week and a half from now, so
Yeah, give or
we
take
will
like 11
we'll
days.
see. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they play
24.
next Thursday, and then the following game is the following Wednesday after that. So about a week and a half from today, I would assume.
Give
I
or take.
think.
It's
Yeah.
I think it's 11 days from today. So it
Yeah.
definitely makes sense, I think, Dave, like that you put it that way. Like, I don't think if you're swapping the teams that that Canada is matched up against, for example, if Switzerland was next week, then maybe you have a different conversation because
Yeah.
Switzerland's a more important team to sort of have a better result against. But you can see how the first half goes against Qatar and then decide, okay, maybe we have to throw Alfonso in there because we're down or we're tied. But if you're up 2 or 3-0, maybe he sneaks in just to get his legs warm. Maybe he doesn't play, but you can kind of play it from there. And then you decide, okay, against Switzerland, maybe we need to be a little bit more cognizant of who's starting, and he's a little bit more rested. So that would be my thought as well. I feel like that's the best
Yeah.
move.
No, I would
Yeah.
agree. Like, you got to kind of, you can't really, don't want something worse to happen. You don't want to give him the whole game or anything. Maybe, I mean, you could convince me into giving him the start and then maybe you bring him off early, but then it's
Right.
like you're kind of playing into what the game is at that point. I'd probably rather keep him on the bench and then bring him in as a sub, even just to get him a little bit of cardio, get him out there, kind of get his body warm, get into a game a little bit. And you don't have to go at 100%. You don't have hopefully you don't have to contribute too much at that point. Like we've all talked about, the Qatar game, should be in Canada's hands. So, yeah, you just want to get him kind of going a little bit and then get him ready for the biggest match of the group stage. And I think that's probably the best play at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would agree. I think
All in all, though,
you
exciting. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Like and this is the thing, we can map out the rest of the tournament for Canada. Like Qatar, we expect a W. Like that should be Canada's first ever World Cup win. If Canada was to draw Switzerland, that would be a phenomenal result. Phenomenal result.
I would argue a draw against Switzerland, it might be a better result than a win against Qatar, and
I would agree.
that is crazy, especially coming as that would be like the first win at a World Cup. And I just think the Swiss they are a well-oiled machine. They've taken down the greats, the Italian national team, in recent tournament history. So
The
um
greats.
well, listen, 4 World
Oh,
Cups
one
will
great.
put you up in that. Well, one's great. Yeah.
The former greats.
Former
like,
greats. Former greats.
Isn't the last World Cup you guys were in like 2020 or no, sorry, it was
2014.
like 2014, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, well,
12 years ago, so
they did win a Euro in between that.
Euros.
That
Oh,
was a
yeah,
lot of
fun.
fun, I'll be honest. Yeah,
Euros
that was
count the
cool.
same.
They
They do.
sorta do.
Ask Ronaldo.
Oh, yeah. But the Swiss are, such a compact team that I think any result against them right now with a team that's, they're not this national team is not in its infancy like they once were at the 2022 World Cup, and even, in the preamble leading up to that tournament. They're not in their infancy anymore, but now we are in our growing stage. This is like
Mhm.
a toddler to child phase. We're not going to be at the levels like the top European teams, some of those top South American teams, but we do want to start seeing some progress of all the development that's coming in. So, like I said, that win against Qatar, a win against Qatar would be so massive for the program. Getting
Yeah.
the first win off their back, which, if I'm going to be completely honest, should have already come before this tournament. They had their
Yeah.
chances in 2022,
Yeah, they
and
did.
I'll rue that game against against Belgium, their first game of the tournament, where it was a very similar script, honestly, to yesterday, where they Canada had a lion's share of possession and chances, they couldn't finish. So it's
Yeah.
something to hold on to, like keep that memory still fresh and take that forward. But getting getting a result against the Swiss can't be understated as being potentially one of the biggest results in Canadian men's soccer history, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I have one question for everyone just in terms of, like, the overall feel. Like, um, now that the World Cup has started, do you guys, like, and it's not just Canada, like, but did you guys get, like, World Cup fever? Like, just like, "Oh, we're finally here," like, it's gonna be an
Oh, yeah.
electric summer of soccer?
Dude, I sorry, I'm trying to get all my thoughts.
I
Sorry,
can't even
guys,
speak.
for stepping on everybody's feet. But, I don't know if you
Fire.
guys have one of these, but I haven't done one of these since I was a kid. I used to
Okay.
do this, like, do you guys know what these are? The panini
The
sticker?
stickers? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. I'm so hyped
That's awesome.
about this tournament. I've got so many Canadians, I'll be honest with you guys.
Good.
Look at my page.
Oh, yeah.
Almost filled up.
That's sweet, bro.
I am, like, in full World Cup fever, and there's no Italy at this tournament, man. I'm going crazy. I am so excited to see some of the top, like, European teams, and South American
Yeah.
teams. Brazil's playing later on today. We've got the Dutch tomorrow. Uh, my head is spinning. There's so many storylines going around, not just the three host countries. Like, Mexico has their own storylines. Yesterday, I don't know if you guys watched, but the States completely
Oh, yeah, that
tore
was
Yeah.
the
Paraguay a
States
new
look
like
good, man. They look
I was
good.
not expecting that. I'll be honest, I thought Paraguay was gonna put up much more of a fight, but man, the
Seriously.
States outclassed the Paraguayans yesterday, and that really, really opened my eyes because I have never seen the States as a team that can dominate another country. They typically play down to their opponent's level.
Mhm.
They're not really a punching up type of team. But yesterday it looked like they were starting to cement themselves as and I wouldn't call them a favorite in this tournament by any stretch of the imagination, but they are looking to have a much better tournament than they have in recent memories.
Mhm.
So watch out for that, man. That Balogun kid that they have playing up top is unreal.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm hyped up. I don't know about you guys.
Oh,
I've
I'm
been gushing
hyped.
for at least
I'm
half
hyped.
an hour about how hyped I am, but
I am hyped.
Yeah, I think it's, like, getting there. I think watching Canada play yesterday definitely hyped me up more than I thought. There's been a lot of great promotion as we've been heading in, which has been helpful, I think, and look, you look at the matches from all the host nations, everyone earned a point at least, so I think that's the helpful part of promoting the World Cup here in North America, I guess you could say, that the main 3 nations in North America is they're all pretty decent teams. And it's not like you're going to Qatar and Qatar's losing every game, and it's like, all right, we're only looking for those major European nations. But I do think as like the weather gets better, as we're seeing a lot of the excitement around the host nations get there, you guys see the duck with the Mexican jersey on?
Oh yeah,
Like
Yeah.
that's
everybody's
amazing.
hyped. That's
amazing.
unbelievable.
If
So it's like
if
it's getting there.
Canada gets hyped the way that Mexico gets hyped, guys,
Oh.
put on your like I don't
Yeah.
know, don't go outside because if the Mexicans get hot, that could be like there could be fires and stuff started
I
in that
know.
country. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
might go crazy.
Well, if
You thought New York was bad? Man, if Mexico goes deep,
we're in trouble. Oh man, we
yeah.
might see a beaver with a Canadian jersey on if that's the case. That's gonna be the
Somebody call
next
somebody call the zoo. Somebody call Toronto
Yeah,
Zoo,
get a moose
Vancouver
going.
Zoo. Get the
Get a
moose with the
moose with the
jersey on.
Canadian jersey.
Had a couple of
fitted.
geese on with the jerseys.
Exactly.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Brandon, how's it felt for you? Like, what's been going on your
No,
end?
like I think, look, you guys know me. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I think it's kind of snuck up on me. I think I was kind of excited to kind of have the typical end of the winter season here with the NHL and the NBA kind of coming to a close. You're gonna have baseball, but it's a different feel in the summer. You know, you have a little bit more time to do different things, and
Mhm.
and I was kind of excited for that. But then, like we said, on after that sit down, watch the Mexico game, um, watch them play really well. It just kind of got, you see the Stadium Azteca just going crazy. And it just really I was like, wow, yeah, this is going to be our life for the next month at least. Like, it's going to
Yeah.
be crazy. So,
Mhm.
and then you see Canada with a great, performance in the city and on the field as well the next day. And it's like, wow, yeah, I guess you better get strapped in because this is what it's going to look like pretty much, every day. Like to Dave's point, there's going to be great matches every day. There's going to be, it's just going to get more intense as we get closer to the end of the group stage and then into the knockout rounds, which is extended this time around. Like it's going to be a great tournament, and I think it's really going to be encapsulating, especially as we get to the end of the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals as well. Like it's just gonna, I think it's gonna take over.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
definitely.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah, so it's exciting to see how the rest of this tournament plays out. We'll have a lot to talk about next week. Canada will play Qatar on the 18th, so we'll have a lot to kind of get into there, as well as the rest of the tournament. But we can switch gears a little and talk a little hockey because I know there's been a lot going on in that game. So a couple nights ago, Carolina did earn second victory in a row to take a 3-2 series lead over the Vegas Golden Knights, 4-2 win. And a lot of storylines that sort of came into the series have started to shift. We talk some Conn Smythe adjustment. We maybe talk the goaltending. You look at the goaltending going into the series, you're like, all right, each team sort of has their guy. Anderson hadn't been pulled. Carter Hart had been a guy who sort of was a staple on the back end for Vegas. And now there's questions about, well, not even questions about both. One is basically out of the series, and one almost gave John Tortorella a heart attack at the mic. So it's like there's so many different conversations that could be had. Maybe we'll just start with game 5. Was there anything that kind of stood out to you guys that was okay, like this needs to be discussed or this needs to be like, is Vegas done basically? Justin, I'm
Just
curious to hear your thoughts.
just before, like, I would say on Anderson, I think that might be a little bit different. I honestly, I'm just speculating with this, but like, it just seems like if he's not even like in the lineup at this point, it feels like, and we know the like memorial service of Claude Lemieux was
Sure.
last week, and that might be a reason. Like, I don't want to like say like he's been crap because like he's been dealing with a lot. Like it's been pretty hard for him. So that might be a reason for Anderson's Carter Hart. That's a totally different story.
Yeah.
He's setting records in the wrong way for the Stanley Cup Final. But Game 5, man, Game 5, it felt like the most boring game of this series, even though it wasn't
Yeah.
boring. Like, it was still really good. I just felt like as the game went on, Carolina got better, and I felt like Carolina started to control play more. I think the injury of William Karlsson was kind of big for Vegas. Like, that really does hurt them. I think when he's in the lineup, like like a kind of like it's the ultimate like stable guy or like glue guy where like you put him in the lineup and everyone just fits around him better. you take him out of the lineup and the lines get jumbled up and you don't really feel like comfortable. That's the way I feel like with William Karlsson for Vegas. But yeah, overall, game 5, I thought that Carolina was the better team. They deserved to win the game. And what can we say other than we have a new Conn Smythe if Carolina wins?
Yeah.
And it's not even just, it is just recency bias, because technically Marner should win it either way at this point, win or lose, because he's been the best player in the playoffs.
I don't
No,
know,
But
man.
nah, bro.
you can't, it is Jordan Stahl winning is because of his finals performance. That's it.
Yeah.
He did nothing the first 3 rounds.
But
Hey,
where's Marner game 5? Game 5 was Marner might as well not have been on the ice. So
Oh
if he
my
doesn't
gosh,
show
we're
up for the
we're
final
gonna
2
take
games and
one
Vegas
game,
wins, what
We're
happens?
gonna take one game, and then the Toronto media is gonna just flip flop and be like, "Yeah, all right, back to the normal Marner."
That's how it is, unfortunately.
listen,
and that's not how it
his-
should be.
listen,
But, like,
I'll
he's-
I'll tell you, Justin. I never criticized him based on his games 1 to 4 performances. His games 5 to 7 performances. If he ever wants to break the playoff choker label, he needs to step up now in game 6 to get his team back into the series. Because if he's not anywhere close to the level that everybody expects him to be, I don't know how much time Vegas has left in the series. It could be their last 60 minutes in game 6, if I'm going to
Oh,
be
for
completely
sure.
honest.
I
Yeah.
mean, I
Mhm.
predicted Carolina in 6. I still believe that will happen. But I don't fully blame Marner on that loss in
No.
game 5.
No,
Like,
of course.
the whole team did not play great. Like,
Mhm.
especially want to single a guy out, it would be Carter Hart. Like, you gotta have
Mhm.
some of these saves. It's not like they're unstoppable chances, I feel like. Yeah, a couple of them, sure. Like, you know what? Like, a couple, like the Sebastian Aho one, maybe you can't save that one. Sure, I understand. The Jordan Stahl one, you like him to save that. That's just a redeflect in front of the net. That's not a really hard shot. I feel like it's a sick tip. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's a shot that he should be positioned for and should be able to make the save. So like, I feel like, yeah, I feel like there's more blame to go around. And if you're talking Conn Smythe, it's best overall player in the playoffs. Like, if we're really gonna nitpick Marner's one game, outside of that, he's been the best player in the playoffs. Like, it's the Jordan Stahl thing. It's all recency bias, and I'm not disagreeing, because I think if Carolina wins, he should win the Conn Smythe. But what I'm
Mhm.
saying is, if we're being fair to the best, what the award actually is, and that's best player throughout the entire playoffs, it has to be Mitch Marner still. There's no question in my mind. Like,
So
he was really good in the Utah series. He was really good in the
I'm
Anaheim series. He was
Uh,
terrific in the Colorado series. And then so far, he's been pretty good except for game 5 in this series.
I'm of the opinion, and you can even date me back to the Edmonton Oilers. I guess it'd be the 2024 run when
Yeah.
McDavid won the Conn Smythe. I'm personally of the opinion that the team that loses loses in the final shouldn't have a player win the Conn Smythe regardless of their performance, because at the end of the day, I still feel like the person that's on the winning a person on the winning side should is the best player
Yeah.
at the tournament, because they got the job done. The best player on that team should be the Conn Smythe winner, the person that produces the most points. It doesn't even have to be that. Like, we've seen goaltenders win it in the past. But I'm personally of the opinion that a player on the losing side of the cup final shouldn't receive the Conn Smythe. And I'm in a very, very silent minority on that, because I know a lot of people disagreed with me when McDavid won it, and I will also disagree with people should Marner win it this year. I feel like it's less cut and dry though this year. Like, this year could flip-flop. I think I will concede and be like,
Oh, yeah,
McDavid
like,
during that run was
yeah.
like supernatural. So
Yeah.
I'll concede and at least give him that credit then.
Well, that brings up the point then, I guess. Should there be 2 different awards? Should there be a finals award, and should there be a overall playoffs award? Because like,
Maybe.
that's a conversation, I guess, that can be had, because this is a perfect example. Marner's been the best player in the playoffs. Jordan Stahl's been the best player in the finals.
Yeah. I kind of hate I like the way the NHL does it with the entire playoffs because like the finals, for example, if for example you were doing the finals, Jordan Stahl wins it, then you'd be having the conversation that Jordan Stahl deserves it no matter what, right? Like and that's just not true because he's had a great playoffs, but he hasn't necessarily been the best player for the majority of the games. So that's an interesting conversation that's brought up. I don't love how the NBA does finals because you have the entire like you need to get there. That almost just means you're diminishing the first 3 rounds. So I think
Like,
that it's good the way they do it, but the problem is so Dave, I get your point. I think the McDavid conversation was like this guy has 10 more points than everybody else. He also had 42, 43. So it's like that's not really common. But the problem is because there's recency bias and we've seen it happen in the last 2 years, the conversation is now every player that's pretty good or is clearly the best player just deserves it. If McDavid didn't do what he did, and the last one that had won it is Jaguar in like '03 or whatever, then the conversation wouldn't even be had. We'd be like, well, then no, he didn't win, so he's not getting it. But because we've seen it happen, I think now people are like, oh, let's discuss it. And
I
he's only at 29 points. It's good, but it's
Well,
not
but
like,
okay,
know.
so here's the thing though. Like, I'm just gonna go over a couple stats because this is interesting to me. Mitch
Let's
Marner
go.
has 29 points, like you said. He's 7 points clear of second place, which is Jack Eichel. He's 10 or 11 points clear of Eddie Carolina Hurricanes player, which is Taylor Hall leading the charge with
Oh,
18
how many
and
more
18
games though?
games.
How many
There
more
are
games?
three more
True.
games.
True.
Okay, well, 3, 4 more points there potentially.
Okay, sure. He's at 8 more points then. Or yeah, 8 more points. Let's just say Taylor Hall stays at a point per game plays. And then the Conn Smythe Trophy winner that we're presuming would be Jordan Stahl has 12 points in 18 games, 8 goals and 4 assists. And Mitch Marner has 10 goals, 19 assists in 21 games.
Does Brett Howden get a shout if
Yeah.
Vegas
No
ultimately
chance.
win?
No
He has
chance.
14 goals though.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
impressive.
He's just
I
as important to
agree.
that team right
He's
now.
been great, but Mitch Marner's been the best player for them. Like,
Yeah.
are we
Yeah.
forgetting
No,
what
he
he
has.
did in game 4 or game 3?
Yeah. Yeah.
I fully
For
agree
sure.
that I
You're-
fully agree. What I didn't like though was coming in where it was like no matter what happens, Mitch Marner is winning the Conn Smythe because I think that also diminishes what Carolina's done on their route to winning the cup. And while I agree, Justin, Mitch Marner has taken the lion's share of points now from like you said what 8 up on his
He's a
own
7 up
teammate
on
for
Jack
second.
Eichel
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
second.
Okay, fantastic. That's fine. But he's now when it's in the crunch time, I want him to be so
Sure, if
outstanding to
yeah.
so to the point where it's like why was everybody just automatically crowning him the Conn
'Cause
Smythe winner?
he had the game of the century.
And there was still a whole series to go.
I
That's
know,
my
but
point where
he
it
had
was
the
like we're
fastest hat trick in Stanley Cup Final history.
yeah. And that was
Well,
in
they
what
should have
game
just
2, right?
stopped the game and gave it to him then, I guess.
No,
On the
that's not the
ice, yeah.
point. The point is that he had the best, like, you look for that landmark game, like that staple game. He has that.
Yeah.
He has that. Jordan Stahl, and I'm not saying because I agree
Has
with the
5 in a
fact
row.
that if
Yeah, no one's ever done
Carolina
that. That
wins-
should be there. There you go. There's your record right there. So
Exactly. That's the recency bias because I'm talking. This award is playoffs. This award is the whole playoffs. Like this is what I'm talking about.
yeah, but I don't know.
Finals. Like this is
If you're gonna
finals
tell
that
me
he's doing this
that
in. If you take away his finals points, like he's at like 6 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? So he's tied. Jordan Stahl is tied for 24th in
yeah, but
league scoring right now.
you can't always quantify
playoffs.
you can't always quantify how important a player is to their team when just by points, especially in the playoffs. I mean, you talk to anybody who knows the Hurricanes that well, and they would tell you that, especially the way that they play, that the point of their team is that there is no specific line or specific player that is designed to be a Connor McDavid type or a Mitch Marner type who's going to rack up the points and look like they're the ones who are carrying them The point is that they roll their lines, and each line, and to some people, their fourth line has been more important to their team than their first line has been
For
throughout these
sure.
playoffs. And some of that can apply to their third line as well, which Jordan Stahl plays on. Like it's just a different makeup. And to me, I'm 100% with you, Dave, on McDavid and why the Conn Smythe should be awarded. I'm trying to really, really rack my brain to think about where I landed when the series actually ended,
Right.
when McDavid won that award. But throughout the entire playoffs, throughout the entire series, it really wasn't until McDavid, I think, broke that assist record, did something historic, where I was like, okay, I can kind of understand that. In a game 7, if they lose, he should still be the guy who gets it. I just don't feel the same way about Mitch Marner in this position, just because he hasn't reached that point. He's not, breaking records. Yes, he had a fantastic individual game, and he's had a great playoffs. But you stack that up against other, players over different eras. Many times over players, will lead the team or lead the league in points in a playoffs, and maybe it's a bunch number. And I get what you're saying, Justin. There's some separation, but it just doesn't feel like Mitch Marner is, above. And even going into the series, Dave, you mentioned it. Like I wasn't sitting here like win or lose, he's gonna win the Conn Smythe. No, it
No, it's
really
not win or
depended
lose.
on, for me, who wins this Stanley Cup, because I think this is a year where both teams have guys who have contributed so much to each team's individual runs, and especially in a series like this where both teams are so well deserving to be in this spot. Like we're not
Mhm.
talking about, in a similar case, Justin, a Florida Panthers team who depends so much on their 1 through 21, up and down the lineup. Like it's hard to kind of see who's important, who's doing what. It's like, no, like this Hurricanes team has guys that have stepped up for them throughout this playoff run, and I think they deserve to be rewarded for that, especially if they win. How can you be the most important player to your team if you don't get that final job done? So I think it's there's always going to be semantics and differences every year, but I think this
Yeah.
year it's going to be and no doubt about it, Justin. Like you can't at this point. There's no chance that unless Mitch Marner scores 10 points in Game 6 or something, like there's no chance
Which
that
could
if they
happen.
lose
Like,
this series now
Definitely
that
Gillespie's playing
they're
great.
who
gonna
knows,
he's gonna win
right?
that
Like,
award. Don't see it.
But
Yeah.
like, if
Yeah.
he, there is a chance, I think, if he can win it still if they lose. I do. I really do.
I
Because
really
if
don't
he
see
goes out and has 3 more points in Game 6 and then they lose, like I think that he can still win it. Like, and we're talking about him
Yeah.
not
But
performing in
at this
in
point,
this
though,
final.
those are
Like
empty
he's had
points.
8 points. He's had 8 points in 5 games, 3 goals, 5 assists.
So
Like,
I'm
Yeah.
curious the
he's
social
tied for
experiment.
he's tied for the Stanley Cup Final lead with Nikolai Ehlers.
What happens if
But those are empty points. Like
Yeah.
why?
No-
What does that? How does that
known
make
playoff
him?
performers,
How does that
by
make
the
him
way.
the best?
Yeah,
Like how
really
does that make him the most deserving of the
No, but
award?
I'm
Just
talking
because
like
he's
we're talking
racking up
like he's
points?
not showed up in this final.
I'm not saying he hasn't shown up at all.
Yeah,
He didn't
no.
show up in Game 5, but he's been there. He's been a great player throughout
Yeah.
the playoffs. But they've also look at who they played the first 2 rounds. Look at what happened in the third round. Like I get it. He's playing
But
great,
look who
way
Carolina
better than I
played.
ever expected.
Yeah.
Like they
Bro,
played
well, I think
Philly.
that's-
Ottawa, and Philadelphia were 2 of the hottest teams going into the playoffs.
Philly,
Like,
I
people want
I
to
don't
cut them
wanna care
out,
about
but
Philly.
Yeah,
look at their
especially
their record the
Ottawa,
last.
man.
Look at
I
their
was
record the
very
last
I'll
20
give them
games,
Ottawa
and then
credit, but like
they absolutely dominated a Pittsburgh Penguins
Philly,
team that a lot
no.
of people thought could be a sneaky team going into the playoffs. Like, I don't really have time for that. Like, I think that you can give me the experience level in terms of a Philly team versus maybe like what Mammoth and the Ducks were going to have, but in terms of like you put the 2 teams that both teams played, I think the 2 teams that Carolina played were not only like
The
by a slight
Ducks
margin,
took
like
the Ducks.
they were-
I disagree with that because the Ducks are better, in my opinion, than the Flyers.
that's fine. That's
Like way better.
I would maybe agree. I don't know about way better in terms of like who you would take in a playoff situation. Like I think the Ducks are slightly better than the Flyers, but I think the Senators are better than or were better and were being touted as better than all of those teams.
For sure.
Philadelphia, Anaheim,
Yeah.
and Utah. A lot of people thought Ottawa was going to the Eastern Conference Finals once they, beat the Hurricanes. Everyone was calling. Like I do think Carolina, because they played so well and just ran through the first couple of rounds, like they were getting like people just thought they weren't any good either. And then they showed themselves to be really good in the conference finals, obviously against the Habs, and have continued to show that they're, in my opinion, at this point, like they are the best team in the NHL right now. And I think that just because that they do it in a different way, I don't think that they should be, um, nothing should be taken away from them or any of their players just because Mitch Marner's got a few more points. Like I don't really subscribe to that, and that's
I'm
fine. Like I'm
curious.
not really.
Yeah.
But what happens if if he does win? Are you guys gonna
If
boycott
Vegas
it?
wins,
Like, are you
if
guys
Ve-
gonna
no,
no,
if
no, no,
Vegas,
if Marner, if no,
The
no,
thing
no.
is, if
oh, if he wins
If
it,
Vegas
if he,
wins, he obviously wins. But like, if Vegas doesn't win and he wins the Conn Smythe, like, is it?
well, then
then I think
I would
voters are
say I
wrong.
think I would say that I think the writers got it wrong. That's all I would say. I don't have any problem with that. I would just say I
No,
think
yeah.
it's a mistake. Like
I
that's
also that as a again, I don't want to be hater Leaf guy because like Marner has proven that he's been a great playoff. Like after game 3, I'm like, listen, I don't love how this narrative is being like created now, or it's been really there the whole playoffs. But Marner had an incredible game 3 performance, and he's in the finals, and he's clearly the best player in the playoffs at the time. So I'm not saying that he hasn't been important to Vegas. And if he wins, I'll almost smirk a little more if they lose. It's like, congratulations, you can have this individual award on your wall, but the one that's eluded you is the one that's most important. Right. So it's like, in a way, it's almost like, okay, congratulations on winning the most goals and assists in the playoffs, but you can't get it done still. So it will make it a little bit more funny. I'm curious though, if Vegas loses game 3, right? So Carolina scores 5 goals in a row, let's say wins in overtime. It's still an impressive performance, but the conversation then switches to you missed that breakaway, and that could have put you up 5-0. Yeah. So it's like now the conversation has nothing to do with Marner. So I mean, that's fair or not fair. That's just the case. So
I do
I
think
don't know, man.
that I do think quickly, Justin. I think you made a really good point that I wish I had hit on earlier. Is that um, if Vegas flames out in this game 6 and Marner does nothing, I think a lot of that, and I don't think it will be fairly pointed out, but the point about Bill Carlson, especially, like Marner, he didn't have, like, he had a pretty good regular season, but like there was a lot of questions about, him playing center and what was going to happen going into the playoffs. As soon as Will Carlson came back, I think he only played like 14 games this season, but as soon as he came back and they got him, they put Marner, stapled him on his line on the wing, he took off. And I think if we see now where, obviously it's late and a lot of things can happen, but if he goes, a full game and a half will go without Carlson and he can't do anything, I think you can make an argument that William Carlson is their most important player because he's allowed them, like you said, Justin, to really set everything up, and it has allowed them to kind of go on this run because without him, you wouldn't have the same synergy from lines 1 through 4. You'd have Mitch maybe in a different position. I doubt he'd be having as great of a playoffs if he was on a different line or if they were jumbling things around. Like there's a Vegas was this close to having like maybe like one of the greatest playoff runs ever from a team that kind of, had kind of a middling regular season. Like it's very interesting to see. And that's why I'm so excited to see how Vegas reacts in this game 6 and how Mitch Marner reacts to what is clearly going to be a huge loss to their team.
Well, do you think? Okay, so do you guys think it's going 6 or 7? Like, do you guys think it ends tomorrow night, or do you guys think it ends Wednesday night?
I think it's over in 6.
I think it's 7. I think they might. I think
Yeah,
Vegas
I
has a
picked
little
6.
more
I
juice.
feel like it might go 7, but
I would love to. I hope it goes 7. I mean, it'd be scary as hell, but I think Carolina
be
now has
scary.
kind of figured it out. And like I said, without Carlson, I think it really does create a really big issue, especially offensively for the Knights.
well, here's another topic that I think that people are underestimating. You go from like one of the most like routine, I guess normal is the way to describe this, normal looking goalies in the NHL where everything's just cookie cutter with Freddie Anderson to maybe the most unorthodox goaltender in the NHL. And do you think that's messing up the Golden Knights when they're shooting at him? Like, they're like, I don't know what the hell this guy's going to do. Like, in the sense of like, he is going to just make some sprawling save that's going to look so bad, but he's going to make the save. So I don't know where to shoot the puck on him right now because I can't figure him out. Do you guys think that's actually playing a role into the Vegas Golden Knights' minds
Maybe
right now?
He also catches right-handed, I believe. So
That's
like
what I mean.
that could easily like throw you off. Like I 100% think that's part of it, but I do think, like you said, it's probably more so his style that maybe has just thrown the Knights off a little bit, thinking that they have something open maybe, and then it's like, wow, okay, yeah, this is just a different guy than what we saw with Freddie. So
Yeah. Like
Well,
I
apparently Marner didn't even know when he was going on the breakaway that they had swapped goalies. Like, is that the story that was happening? Like in game 3 or whatever it was? Like he
right.
didn't even know that Bussy was in net. So I think maybe subconsciously it did.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I think if you know game 4, I know it was closer to game 4 start time where they realized that Bussy would be the starter. But then you also have game 5. So it's like you can make adjustments. John Tortorella is more of a motivational guy. I don't know if he's like an X's and O's guy. So it's possible that maybe he just
well,
said, like, guys, get through this. What do you
did
think?
you hear Tortorella's comments?
About
Like
his own
X's and
goaltender?
O's. No,
Oh,
X's and
okay.
O's. Like he's just like at this point, there's 2 games left in the season. It's a matter of not trying to teach X and O's at this point. It's just a matter of are you going to beat this opponent 2 times? That's it. That's all it comes down to. There is no
Yeah.
teaching. There is nothing that we are going to be able to teach you in the next 2 games that will make the difference. It's just going to be a matter of can you beat this team twice? Can you beat the other guy on the other side? That's all it comes down to. And
Yeah.
I honestly respect it because, like, there are 2 games at most left in this season. That's it. And you just have to go and do it. And the craziest part is Carolina hasn't lost 2 games since January 12th and January 13th.
Mm.
That's like games 48 and 49 of the regular season. Like, that is really crazy. I
Yeah.
think this series hasn't been it hasn't been like as scrappy. Like after the whistles, like it just hasn't been as scrummy. Like you go back to Montreal and Tampa Bay, and you just like after every single whistle, like there was a pile up of like 4 or 5 guys. And here it's like maybe once or twice a game that happens, but like you're not seeing that. It's more like tactitional kind of thing. Like we're just gonna beat you down, like you said, Dave.
And that's just Rod doing his thing. Rod, like they stuck to credit to Rod Brendamore for sticking with his system. Like we know a lot of coaches have a system and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Toronto, Craig Berube. But that being said, you look at Carolina, it's finally working. And I think you're bringing it. The reason that this year it might not be more
Salty.
pronounced, Dave, but I think the reason that they're having so much success is they've brought in, and I've heard Rod Brendamore talk about this in different interviews. Like every guy on the team is just buying into that system and that way of playing. You bring in Taylor Hall, you bring in Nikolai Ehlers, who a lot of people, to a much lesser extent, had suggested he's not a playoff player. And he's got what he put up 3
He's
assists in
got
game 5.
17 points in 17 games for them.
Yeah, so and that's on par with I mean, like double. I think he was like a half point player a game in the past for Winnipeg. So it's the system. They're getting guys that are buying into playing the way that Brendamore's system is, and they're all succeeding. It's just like kind of finding that perfect mix. And so that's kind of been the biggest success is finding those guys, and no one is sort of a passenger. Even the fourth line of Carrier, Robinson, and I mean even Jankowski, throw them in there too if you want. Like there's a lot of these guys that they're just playing the way they need to play, and it's just paying off dividends so far. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're not
there you
wrong.
go. Game 6 goes Sunday. We'll see what happens, but hopefully we'll have a winner to talk about next week, regardless of which of the 2 teams it is. But we can wrap up with some NBA talk here, boys. What the hell was that exactly?
Clip that. Yeah, I
What
mean,
is going on there?
it's ending tonight. It is, and if
Yes.
it's not ending tonight, it is ending in the Garden. And I honestly wonder if like some people are just like, let the Spurs win tonight and then win it in the Garden.
Win at home.
Like
Yeah.
just win it at home. He's too tired. Did you guys see how
Yeah, I think
gassed
he's
he
just
was
too
by the end
tired.
of like game 5, like or
He
game
missed
4?
both
Like he was.
the free throws.
He played 44 minutes. He couldn't play more than 33, maybe. I don't know. Like, that's in his range, like 33, 35 minutes a night. You can't play him 40 minutes a night. He gets too tired. And it's not like a discredit to him. He's big. He's lanky. Like, that's going to happen. But, like, obviously, just this is going to sound stupid, but, like, that is more demoralizing than the Cavs comeback
Right.
win, obviously.
Yeah.
But even though like that was like more demoralizing than the Cavs one. I would say the Spurs have a better chance of winning a game following that than the Cavs did. Like
Yeah.
after game 1, I was like, the Cavs are just done. They're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
swept. They're
That was
done.
their
There's no
chance.
chance.
Yeah.
I feel like the Spurs have a fighting chance. Like I feel like the Knicks are going to win, but I feel like the Spurs, I just can't count them out yet. I feel like there's a chance that they could rebound in game 5 and actually pull out a victory and then force game 6. So how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
Do you guys feel the same way or no?
Well, yeah, I think the more demoralizing aspect of it was the way that it happened, of course. You're up 29.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think when you look at like the distribution of points for the Knicks, it was OG and it was Jalen Brunson. Like those were your guys. And even Richard Jefferson on the broadcast at one point was like, yo, somebody else has to help these two. Like you can't, it can't just be these two. As it turns out, it pretty much can, because OG had a moment that basically is going to live in New York Knicks lore forever. And as proud Raptors fans, I think we can be happy for him in that respect.
Oh, I am so happy for OG.
It was an unbelievable play. And so in that particular case, if you're the Spurs, you're looking at that saying we had a chance where their stars weren't going. Cat wasn't really going. Mikal Bridges wasn't really going. Josh Hart is more of a, like, he's not a points guy to begin with,
He's
but he wasn't really, he's a role player, but he wasn't really playing the role to that extent. He missed that free layup. It's like we had that chance when their guys were stalled. And now in game 5, everyone's probably back to feeling like we have an opportunity to close this out. So who knows what kind of Knicks team you get. I do agree, though, Justin. I think that they at least get one more. Like it goes back to New York, but that's more demoralizing in the way that it's not like you beat a team, you lost to a team that had 2 guys going, and now they're probably all ready for game 5.
Yeah.
Like you just can't kill this team. They're the team that just cannot be killed.
Yeah.
Like I like you think about how many heartbreaks New York has had, not just in the Knicks like sporting world, but just New York in general. They usually lose those games. They always lose those games. And just this team does not quit. They did it against, and I remember last year, they did it against Boston. They were down by like 22 or 24 points, and they came back and like embarrassed them too. Like they don't quit. You can take a lead, and it can be as big as you want in the first half. You better not take your foot off the gas or screw up, because they are going to come back. And I'm going to be honest, like it was like 81-62, 19-point game. And I'm like, this game's not over yet. Like I was like trying to go to bed. Like I was like, all right, I'm going to turn my phone off. Or like, I'm just going to, like, I can go to bed and just like leave the sound on and just like fall asleep that way. And then just like, I was like, it's now a 25-point game. Oh, now it's a 22-point game. Like, you know what I mean? And they just started coming in. I'm like, okay, 2 more minutes. And they just kept on going. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Oh, they went down. The start of the fourth quarter, they went back up to 19-point lead. San Antonio did. I was like, okay, now it's cooked. Like it might be done now. Yeah. And then like 50 seconds later, it's back down to like 15 or 14 points. I'm like, yeah, no, she's not over yet. Like I'm like 2 more minutes. Like just kept on going and going and going. And finally, like it just, and you could tell even the building knew, down like 20, they're screaming defense. Like no building in their right mind is usually screaming defense when the team is down 20, but they could just feel like it just kept on building and building. And finally with Jalen Brunson, I feel like this is when it actually erupted, because they knew at this point, they were like, we're winning this game. Is when Jalen Brunson hit that step back 3 over Victor Wembanyama. That was the moment. That was like, all right, it is cooked. Like they are officially coming back. Like San Antonio, just like they have the darkest shorts you can possibly imagine right now. Like they absolutely are feeling it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was that kind of feeling when he hit that 3 over Victor. Like it was crazy, but like, like just an amazing comeback.
That's kind of why I feel like the series is kind of over. Like I feel like there's just so much momentum going in different ways for both teams. Yeah. Like the Knicks have got to be riding an absolutely high where they feel like they can't do anything wrong. Like the championship's in their grasp, and the Spurs just got to be feeling like, hey, we've played some really good basketball in the series. We just haven't been able to kind of close games, and that's been their biggest thing, especially after such an energy draining series against Thunder. I think Justin, to your point about Wemby, like he's just kind of running out of gas, and with such a a young and experienced lineup. He can't do it all. So I think it's kind of gotten to this point where, yeah, they're just kind of running out of options in these later game scenarios, and they're so tired and so kind of maybe out of their element that they're still learning how to kind of get to this point where the Knicks have had their own heartbreaks. Obviously, they're their first time back in the finals with this group, but it feels like they've kind of been building, and they've got
Oh
that
yeah.
momentum over multiple years where, we'll see that, I think, with the Spurs going forward. So I mean, it's been a fantastic series, but I think to my earlier point, I do think that the Knicks are just going to ride this through into San Antonio, where there's going to be a ton of Knicks fans, I'm
Yeah.
sure, anyway. And in the end, no one will remember, where they won the title. It'll just be about
Yeah,
how crazy
definitely.
people go in the state of and in the city of New York at that point. So
Do you guys think that like all the celebrities are just going? Like I think they are. I think
Uh, I think
like
some of the diehards,
yeah, I think you'll
like
see like
obviously
Stiller and
Trace.
Chalamet
Yeah.
and Spike Lee, but
Spike,
you're
yeah,
not.
yeah.
I'd be surprised like if you see Taylor Swift again at this
No,
one.
no, no. But
Like,
I think I would see Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld. Like I could
sure,
see
sure.
that.
The New
Yeah.
York-based people for sure. Like I could
Yeah.
see them traveling down to want to get to see a chance at a title. Yeah.
Like super fan.
Oh no, but they're getting bought out. Like no chance.
Yeah.
Like I guarantee you, Nick fans are probably offering them like $10,000-$20,000 for their tickets right now.
Yeah.
And
Like
listen, if I have tickets to game 5 in San Antonio, someone offers me like 20 G's. All right, take it easy. I don't want to watch my team lose.
you're part of the problem then. If you're San
Well-
Antonio, you're like, no, don't sell those tickets, no matter what the price is that
I
they
know.
give you. Don't sell those tickets. We cannot have like
Of course.
if it is 50-50 in that building tonight, I would not be shocked.
Yeah, yeah. I can go to a lot of Marley's playoff runs with that one right there.
Yeah, because that's the cheapest team that's gonna go in Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah, they might let you play, honestly.
You know what? I'm gonna pay you $1 million to actually have a lifetime contract with this team. I
Yeah.
can shoot up whenever I want.
Yeah, I'm just like randomly left field point here though. I'm looking at the Knicks depth chart, right? And I don't know if a lot of teams are like this, but every one of their starters wasn't drafted there. Like Jalen Brunson, Dallas, Josh Hart, New Orleans, Mikal Bridges. I think he's played for a couple teams. Played with Phoenix and the Nets, OG, Toronto, and then
No,
I thought he was
Suns draft
Phoenix.
picks.
Yeah, but he played, I
10th
think,
overall.
in Brooklyn a bit.
He did.
And
He
then
traded to Brooklyn and then to the Knicks.
the Knicks, and then Cat in Minnesota. So it's like, I know not all teams are drafted or made like this, but it just felt like whatever happened, it's similar to Carolina. The right pieces, the right time. They're all dogs. Like Jalen Brunson might be my favorite player in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
He's not the best player, but he's by far won me over. Like I'm a huge Giannis guy, but my God, Brunson is an incredible clutch player, and you need that if you're going to win any type of any success in the playoffs, and they're clearly showing it. But it's just crazy that none of them were drafted in New York. I think.
Yeah.
If we just go back to a little bit of analyst talk here for 1 second, Brandon had a really good point about Victor, and like you can tell when he's like the series when he gets tired or the points when he gets tired, because he will start a game and like this is when you know he's in a freakish mode. Is like he will drive to the paint and he will take control, right? Like in the first half, you can tell when he's taking control. But when he stops doing that and starts pulling up, not that he has a terrible shot, but when he starts pulling up from mid-range and not driving to the hoop, you know that he's tired and he's gassed and like he's just not in the zone as much
Right.
when he's doing that. Because like you can tell if he starts out with a couple buckets where he's driving to the paint, catching a lob, doing whatever, being assertive in the paint, then like those mid-range shots are going to come and it's in motion. It's in what's the word I'm looking for? Motion, sure, whatever. But it's in rhythm. That's the word I'm looking for. They're in rhythm shots. When he starts in the second half and you could see it in game 4, like he just floated out to the basically 3-point line or the mid-range line and he's just taking jumpers and he's not even trying to dribble or anything like that. They're not in rhythm shots. And so you can tell the difference and you can tell when he's tired and you can really see that it is a big difference in this series because he's just not that dominant guy for the full minutes that he's out there.
Well, and I think the thing that will be forgotten, especially if the Knicks win game 5 and take it in 5 games, like the Spurs were like you could argue that the Spurs could be up 3-1 right now.
Exactly. I was about to say that too.
Wemby misses the
Yeah.
game winner in game 3, and then obviously they blow the huge lead. It's like those are not results that were that different from being Spurs with a commanding lead in this series right now. And I think to that point, like it just goes to show that I think if the Spurs keep building at all, like and the way Wemby continues to build and has clearly shown himself to be, one of, if not the best, the most effective player in the NBA right now. Like it's they've got a lot of positive years ahead of them for sure. Like it's insane. Yeah.
Like I think it's fair to say this might be the worst Spurs team we see.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Like
You know what though? We said the same thing about Oklahoma though, and
but
they lost to the
I'm not
Spurs.
they're gonna be there though. Like that's the thing about the West. Yeah.
They had injuries.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams did not play.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like
it's
that's
gonna be them
massive
too in the
loss.
West. Which is why I'm kind of happy to see New York have some success now, because I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be available for you when you really see those two teams are going to be in the finals every year.
Building for 4 years. Like they've been, like Brandon talked about, it's not just been like a one magical run thing. It's been building and like getting better and better and better.
Like look at last year, like Indiana just kind of was hot, and like they had a Tyrese Halliburton, and you had like Miles Turner, like guys were just stepping up, and they were close to the finals last year.
Yeah, 100% credit to
they possibly could have won the championship if Halliburton doesn't go down with his torn game 7. So
well, and that's the thing. Like I think their president Leon Rose, like he's been clear on his mandate, basically to say like, hey, when I took over this team, like he didn't have the assets of an Oklahoma City or San Antonio. Like he had to look at this. Look at it in a different way. And it's more maybe the traditional NBA that we've seen in the last 15 years where it's like you just go out and acquire the guys that you think can get it done. But it's so rare that like a collection of guys from, traded here, drafted here, signed here, like that actually works. But I got to give him a lot of credit for finding the exact type of personalities, but also the player types that he needed to kind of put this group of players together. And then, like you said, like they could have easily been, back-to-back finals appearances because like they just ran into a crazy hot team. Yeah.
You could argue we're seeing that in the NHL.
Oh, 100%.
The Golden Knights.
Teams.
Like, Golden Knights is a good example.
They just trade for whoever they like want in terms of like not everyone that they want, but like you know what I mean. Like they just trade for the players that they see fit. And they're doing the exact same thing the Knicks are doing. Obviously, we don't know if they're going to win the championship this year, but in overall, like since they became a franchise, this has been their motto. They don't really draft; they just trade.
Well, to a lesser extent, you could even say Tampa Bay. Like they have a lot of they have Hedman, right, and they have Kucherov. Like they have their guys, but if you look at the last like 10 years, right, like they've gotten rid of everybody. So it's different because basketball you have a lot less personnel, and NHL you have 23.
So did the Penguins.
Plus.
The Panthers even too, like
Panthers, it's interesting. Now, I always think about the NBA when like the Brooklyn Nets were a great example of how it didn't work. But you also look at the personnel. If you look at the Knicks, it doesn't feel like there's any like bad or toxic attitudes in there. I'm not saying that Brooklyn had that, but you have Durant, you have James Harden, and then Kyrie's probably like the least problematic, and he's throwing sage around before games, boys. That doesn't work, right? So it's just it's the personnel, it's the will to want to win, and there's just guys that maybe don't have that like inner dog that they actually feel like, hey, here's $40 million, but still have the motivation to win for your own like benefit. And Brunson and company are guys that are like, we want to win.
Brunson took one of the biggest pay cuts in NBA history, right? To make this team work, and that does not get talked about enough. Like just the amount that he sacrificed, like the man can literally walk downtown and have whatever he wants. Like I think
the whole Knicks team can too, really. Like they haven't won since 73. Like I think all the entire team, Landry Shamet, like whatever.
Shamet, yeah, sure, but like I don't know. There's a couple guys like Jordan Clarkson's definitely not going to have the same pull that Jalen Brunson.
No, you're right. And Dave, you're right. Brunson is the leader, and man, like Dallas Mavericks fans, man, I am sorry. Like we understand how you're feeling. Like it is a tough scene over there, especially with San Antonio in the finals too. Like you're going, okay, like what's going on here? But but it's been fun to watch. It is. I've said this in the group. I feel like we all feel the same. NHL NBA combo, like the fact that we're watching an incredible game pretty much every night. It feels like it's the best combination that I've ever witnessed. Like, I don't know if that's just recency bias, but it's incredible.
No, and I
No.
want to shout out even the Olympic break for the NHL. I think has really synced this up so perfectly. Like typically we'll see the NHL is like a little bit ahead of the NBA, and you know whether it's in the first, second round, you kind of see things moving a little bit faster. But this year, like the two playoff rounds have been like perfectly synced up, and I think it's led to just fantastic day to day excitement, and it's kept people looking to both leagues for their entertainment. So it's been a good. I think both leagues have benefited from it.
Both are seeing fantastic numbers in terms of, and I don't think I don't look at them and think, oh yeah, I feel validated that I'm watching this series now because I'm gonna watch it anyway. But like in terms of like seeing numbers increase, that's a good thing, obviously. So it's good to see.
I wonder if it'll be something like this again, because I know the NHL starting in September next year. They normally start early October. They do have the 2 extra games, but I don't know if we'll ever see, like, it's a good point, Brandon. I wonder if we'll see this line up again. Like, there's going to be All-Star breaks. There's going to be World Cup of Hockeys, but I wonder if we'll ever get a series, 2 series back to back, where every night you're kind of working through, and plus the World Cup.
I mean, maybe they coordinate, like they coordinate
they
their
of course
final
coordinate.
schedules.
Yeah.
They always coordinate their final schedules, but like maybe they coordinate and say, look, like if we go back to back of each other, like that's the best thing possible.
It's also because this was the first year that I can remember. Maybe they did it in a couple previous years. The NHL started their second round before the first round ended. Normally you wait for the entire rounds, but I remember Carolina and Philly playing like on a night where, like, let's say Minnesota and Colorado or whatever
they played one night before Game 7 between Tampa and
that's right, and Montreal.
So,
usually it's the NBA like trying to catch up, and they're like playing next round games before the end of the first round or whatever. But you're right. Like I think that allowed both leagues to kind of get into, like, to use Justin's term, like to get into a rhythm and really sync up their schedules. And I think, like I said, it's just kind of every night you're like, what's going on tomorrow? And it's like, oh, great. I got the cup final. And it's like, great.
Well, the last American on American series was Florida versus Vegas in 2023. And that honestly that was terrible. Like people did not tune into that series.
Yeah.
Everyone just like kind of tuned that one out. That was like less than 1 million viewers.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And definitely, even if you get 5 in games in the NBA, they've been pretty much like 4, at least 4 or 5 have been entertaining.
They've been 1-point games.
Yeah.
They're so entertaining.
So the entertainment level is at all-time high for sure. Yeah.
Like that's what we want. That's everyone like, it doesn't have to be like a super long series. Yeah, sure. It's better for Gates in terms of revenue and stuff like that. But as long as the games are entertaining and terrific, that's all that matters. Right?
That's it.
Like that's all that matters. People are gonna clue in. Like and we talked about it. The later it goes into June, I think we talked about this before, but the later it goes into June, the more people want to tune out. The more that they just want to go to their summers and want to get stuff rolling. We're on June 13th. Like usually we're not done these series until like the like I want to say June 21st or June 23rd or somewhere in that range. And so the fact that we could be done the NHL tomorrow and maybe the NBA tonight, that's huge. I think that is big. So I think these are big factors that go into it, and we'll see. But
yeah. I think that's about it.
Boys.
What an episode. A lot of fun stuff. It's easy when there's like so many things to talk about, so makes our job a little bit easier. But episode 63 in the books. Welcome back, Dave. A good all-around chat. Yes. Hopefully, maybe we'll get a 5-some going on in one of the next episodes. Just a 5-pack for the kids. Starting 5. So we'll see how that goes. But appreciate everyone for listening. Continue to tune into the episodes throughout the summer. Got a lot of fun stuff planned. So other than that, thank you for listening once again. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the rest of the finals games, the World Cup, and we'll catch you next time.